What is up, guys? How's it going? I hope you're having a great day. So soloing Kree'arra, the Armadyl God Wars dungeon boss, is fairly easy once you understand his mechanics. We'll be going over a few ways to take down this giant bird. So let's get you ready to grind out your Armadyl armor or AGS. For requirements, you're going to need at least 80 range, 80 defense, 80 HP, 44 or 74 prayer for either Eagle Eye or Rigor, optionally 92 magic if you're going to blood barrage the minions at the end instead of using blowpipe specs, or 76 magic and the Kingdom Divided quest completed if you want to bring thralls. Gear and inventory are up next, and you have a few different options depending on how you want to take down this guy. No, not him. Yeah, that guy. You can run a crossbow setup with a rune, dragon, or Armadyl crossbow with either adamant or dragon diamond bolts E for their effect of increasing your maximum damage by 15% and increasing its accuracy. This effect ignores your range strength and range level, so even if you are brewed down, you will still roll guaranteed accuracy, and a 0 to 115% of your max hit. Completing the hard candor and diaries also gives you a 10% increased likelihood for the effect to proc. Kree'arra doesn't have enough HP to make Ruby Bolts effective here, so don't worry about bringing those. You'll also need a Crystal Shield, Carol's Top, Armadyl D'hide Chaps, Zamorak Coif, a Glory or a Fury, Barrow's Gloves, and whichever version of Ava's you have, an Archer's Ring or Ring of Suffering, and Ancient Boots for the God Wars Dungeon Bank. You could also use Rangers or Pegasians, or a different God D'hide boots if you're opting out of the bank here. If you're an Ironman, getting the God D'hide could prove to be a challenge as it comes from Clue Squirrel rewards. Your alternatives are going to be Snakeskin Boots, which require 45 crafting for a +3 range attack, Shazian Boots 5, requiring 100% Shazian favor for a +4 range attack. Neither of these will provide you with any range defense though. The only other option between those and the God D'hide boots would be if you have 84 Slayer, you could farm a Drake's Claw to make Brimstone boots out of the Boots of Stone from Slayer Masters for a +5 range attack and +5 range defense. But Drakes are annoying, so that wouldn't be my first choice. In your inventory, you're going to want to bring 2 to 3 range potions, a stamina to get there, or to the bank. Or you could bring an angler to eat before the boss room instead. You'll also want to bring some brews, restorers, combo food, a Mythal Grapple to enter Armadyl's Eyrie, a Serpentine Visage and Blowpipe if you have them, or any weapon that will autocast Ancients like the Ancient Staff, Aram Staff, a Master or Kodai Wand, so you can use blood spells to heal off the minions, or a Book of the Dead and Runes for Thralls if you're planning on bringing those. You could also bring an Ecumenical Key if you're skipping the initial KC to enter the room, a one-click teleport, some Bones to Peaches tabs, and either a Trollheim teleport or Gommel's Hilt. Bring Chinchampas with you as well, although I wouldn't bring anything below a red Chinchampa. Remember, if you die with your chin stack, you will lose all of them, so only bring 1 to 200 at a time until you get more comfortable with the boss. For a higher tier build, you could run with full Crystal and Bofa, or full Armadyl and the T-Bow, with a Necklace of Anguish, Ring of Suffering imbued, Rangers, Pegasian, Ancient, or Armadyl boots, Ancient or an Honorable Blessing, Barrow's Gloves or Zerite Vambraces, and an Ava's Assembler. If you're really bougie and have a Shadow Staff, you could bring the Shadow Staff with Ancestral or Virtus Robes, an Occult Necklace, Tormented Bracelets, an Imbued God Cape, Honorable Blessing, Eternal Boots, a Seers or Magus Ring, Kodai or an Eldritch if you want to have the prayer restoring special attack, and you'd bring an Elidnus Ward with you, an Imbued Heart, and runes to cast ice spells to freeze Kree'arra and his minions. Don't forget your crossbow and grapple to be able to get in. It's worth mentioning you can get Slayer XP from killing Kree'arra if you unlock the Avian Seas task by purchasing Watch the Birdie for 80 Slayer points. Duradel will weigh them the highest out of all the Slayer Masters, so use him if you can, and make sure you bring your Slayer Helm and Ecumenical Keys so you don't waste your task trying to get the KC to get into the boss. Although if you are bringing a Bofa or a T-Bow setup, you don't really need to bring the chins, so you could just replace that with something like an Angler or some more food or potions. Kree'arra has 3 minions in the room with him. Blight Kalissa, attacking with melee and maxing a 15, Wingman Scree, attacking with magic and maxing a 16, and Flock Leader Jiren, attacking with ranged and maxing a 25. All 3 of these will attack on a 5-tick cycle. Kree himself has a max hit of 69 with range, which is going to be the Grey Tornado, 21 with magic, the Blue Tornado, and a 26 with melee, attacking on a 3-tick cycle. Kree won't melee you if you're focusing him, so make sure your attacks are on Kree, unless you want to end up like this guy. Or if you're doing the chin method, which we'll go over in the live kill. The loot from Kree'arra is very nice if you can get a drop. All the armor drops at a rate of 1 out of 381, the hilt at a rate of 1 out of 508, and the pet at 1 out of 5,000. At the time of recording this, in early November 2023, chest is worth around 41 mil, the chain skirt is worth around 31 mil, and the helm and hilt are both worth around 10 mil. So getting anything other than Godsword shards will either give your bank a nice chunk of cash or a very nice gear upgrade. Now let's talk about how to get there. If you have Egger's Ruse completed, You can use the Trollheim teleport in the standard spellbook, or a Trollheim teleport tablet, which is created from a house teleport and a redirection scroll from the Nightmare Zone. Or you could use Gommel's Hilt, which is closer and has 3 daily teleports with the easy tier of the combat achievements done. Medium will give you 5, and hard will give you unlimited. If you're not using the Gommel's Hilt, this is where you're going to end up. What you're going to want to do is climb down these eastern agility shortcuts, as it's going to be a lot faster than taking the shortcuts on the other side of the mountain and having to run all the way around. Now that we're at the bottom, we're going to protect from range and run past the thrower trolls. And now you're at the entrance. You're going to need either 60 strength to push the boulder, or 60 agility to be able to take the shortcut. The boulder is going to be about a 12-second entry, as where the agility shortcut is going to be about a 5-second entry, so I would suggest using that. Once you're inside, you're going to be greeted with the Winter Storm effect, which continually drains your stats and run energy, similar to the Ice Diamond portion of the Desert Treasure 1 quest. You are able to remove this effect by completing Making Friends with My Arm, and mining the basalt to make the Fire of Unseasonable Warmth. Aside from that, inside there are 3 wolves, all level 132, guarding the entrance. You're going to want to pray melee and run past these guys, over here towards the hole. If it's your first time in, you're going to need to tie a rope to the hole right here. Once you tie the rope on there, it will stay forever. You may also need to talk to a knight before entering the God Wars dungeon, unless they've removed that out of the game. Once you climb inside, you'll see that you are surrounded by minions of all the gods fighting. You are going to need to run to the southwest to be able to enter Armadill's Eyrie. Make sure you have your grappling hook and crossbow equipped, and you will be able to swing across from this pillar right here. Now that we know about all of this, we can talk about the KC to get into the boss room. In the God Wars dungeon, you are going to need 15 to 40 KC of whichever minion of the boss you're going to kill per entry into their room. The combat achievements lower the total amount that you're going to need, starting at the hard tier going from 40 to 35, elite 35 to 30, master 30 to 25, and Grandmaster 25 to 15. For your kill count, you're only going to need to tag them for credit. I would go for the Spiritual Rangers or Mages if you have the Slayer level for those, as you can get some Dragon Boots from the Mages and make some money while you're getting your KC. They won't aggro onto you when attacked as long as they're already in combat with something, so go ahead and let the minions tank for you. You don't need to waste your prayer like that. The boss and boss minions also grant KC towards your next kill, totaling at 4 KC per trip if all of the minions die as well. You are able to skip the KC to enter the boss room, if you have an ecumenical key, which are dropped at a rate of 1 out of 60 in the Wilderness God Wars dungeon. Each combat achievement tier completed starting with hard lowers the drop rate by 5, with hard being 1 out of 55, elite 1 out of 50, master 1 out of 45, and grandmaster 1 out of 40. You'll also be able to make these keys with shards received from Nex's loot table. 50 shards is going to equal 1 key when combined. If you do go the wilderness route, bring armor from all the gods, for example, a Zami D'hide coif, a holy necklace, war blessing, and Armadil rune legs. You'll be able to bring Barrow's gloves and a dragon scimitar, or any other weapon you'll protect on death. Remember to bring an anti-dragon fire shield, some combo food, anti-poison, and a one-click teleport like the seed pod in case a PKer shows up. This is a fairly cheap setup where you'll protect your weapon, coif, Barrow's gloves, and your legs as a +1 from protect item if you have a similar inventory to the one shown on screen. If you're an Ironman, the hardest pieces to get are going to be the God D'hide and the Armadil leg, since they are clue squirrel items, so you could switch them out for a Zami monk robe top and a book of law if you don't have the others. Be sure to kill imps and weaker monsters for faster keys, but make sure you have skull prevention turned on. It is the wilderness. If you can, bank at Nex. It makes your life really easy. You'll need a key shard from all of the God Wars bosses, which you'll get on your first KC for each boss. You'll use those to build the key to unlock the room to get to Nex. Once you're in there, you'll want to build up enough KC for a few bank trips, and then you'll want to go and get your KC for the boss, or just enter with an ecumenical key. Once you're in the boss room and you get back to 40 KC, you can use the altar to teleport out of the room and be put right back outside the boss room's door. You can then run to Nex, resupply, and head back over to your boss. Getting KC in the Ancient Room is a lot faster than all of the other bosses, as you'll be granted 2 to 5 KC per kill, depending on what you kill instead of 1 like the original 4 bosses. Killing a melee or ranged minion will give you 2 KC. A Blood Reaver will give you 3, and Mages give you 5. If you die or teleport out, your KC is going to be wiped, and you'll have to collect it again from scratch. So using the Nex bank is a nice method for saving all the KC you've collected in the boss room. Since you aren't going to be leaving the dungeon, it's not going to get wiped. If you do die though, it will place your grave safely outside the boss room, so you can collect all of your gear. But remember to bring god items with you when you come back for your stuff, That way you don't wipe your grave. You can instance the room, but if the torch outside the room is lit, then you will have to world hop, as only one person or group iron team is allowed to instance a boss per world. The hard combat achievements grant access to instancing starting at 150k, Elite will drop it down to 125k, Master to 100k, and Grandmaster to 75k. Alright, now for the live kill. We'll be using the crossbow and Chinchompa method for this one, so I will be explaining that as we go. As we enter, we want to have protect range on and either Eagle Eye or Rigor, depending on what you have. I'm going to go ahead and instance this so I don't get crashed, and you'll immediately run down to the southwest corner over here as it's closest to the altar. And as you can see, I got knocked back because I wasn't against both of the walls. Let me focus Kree here. Alright, now we'll attack Kalissa just to drag Kree in a little bit so we can start chinning. After a few attacks of not focusing Kree, Kree is going to run in to try to melee you, so you want to make sure you switch back quickly. We're just going to attack Kalissa and then Kree, and just keep repeating this, as it will continuously damage everything here within a couple tile range from the AoE effect from the chins. Once we get Kalissa down, we can switch over just to Kree. Be careful with your clicks, you don't want to end up back in Lumbee. Alright, so now we can switch back over to our crossbow and attack Kree. If you have an Armadillo crossbow, you can go ahead and dump your specs out. And depending on how fast you are killing Kree, you may end up having Kalissa respawn and you'll have to switch back to chinning again. Yep, there's Kalissa there. Alright, so we got Kree dragged in again. Let's eat up, switch back to our chins, attack Kree, and go back to alternating between the two of them. And if you're having trouble clicking on them, it's easier just to aim for the shadows on the ground. That way you'll have a better chance of grabbing the right hitbox, at least for Kalissa. Alright, now that Kree'arra is down, we're going to switch over to attacking Wingman Scree. I just got a Venom on Flock Leader Jiren as well. Use our Blowpipe and our Serpalm to take him down. This is also where you could switch over to Ancient Magics and use some Blood Spells to get some health back. Gonna dump a couple Blowpipe specs and get some health back real quick. And that's the whole fight. Gonna want to make sure you pick up all of the bones that are on the ground here. That way you are able to use your Bones to Peaches tablet and get some free food. As you can see in the buff bar, it's got a timer until Kree'arra spawns again, so you can use that to plan out the rest of the time until your next kill starts. And that's where I'm gonna call it. If you guys enjoyed the video or learned something, feel free to hit that sub button. It's free, it'll make this guy really happy, and it'll also help grow the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.